Now then, a new law has been put in place following the tragic death of a toddler who died due to mould exposure. The new law, known as Awab's Law, will put tenants' safety first, with landlords forced to fix emergency health and safety hazards within 24 hours of reporting. They must also investigate significant damp and mould within 10 working days of being notified, and then make properties safe within 5 working days. Joining me now is Mike Blackham from local charity Groundwork. Good morning, Mike. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No problem. It's Blackham, but I often get it wrong. Well, people often get it wrong.
That's all right. Tell us what it is exactly that you do.
So I work for Groundwork 5 Counties, which is a sustainable East Midlands regional charity. So all the work we do is free or fully funded. And our green doctors provide energy-saving advice, retrofit advice, and more importantly, condensation and mould advice.
Okay. And how is it that you can access that service?
So there's various ways you can get in contact with the service. The one we're promoting at the moment is the groundworks.org.uk/healthy-homes. And that's the project we've got currently running, but also that links into other projects. So if you're not eligible for that one, we'll pass you on to the right team. So definitely you go onto that one. That's not a problem.
Is this a free service, I understand?
So the service is completely free. And depending on what the situation is, depends on what level of report, if you like, or inspection is carried out. So we can do it from as basic as giving advice over the phone and hints and tips, but more often than not, we prefer to go actually into the house, have a chat with the individual, see what they're actually currently using regarding their heating system, the ventilation, et cetera, and understand where the faults or where the issues are, and then advise accordingly.
What are the most common mistakes that people are making when it comes to damp and mould in their homes?
So the key thing to understand regarding condensation and mould in your home is it's highlighting an imbalance between ventilation, moisture production and heating. So something's not quite right in that mix. It could be a lot of things not quite right, or it could just be one tiny thing. So it's kind of understanding that and then looking through and addressing those issues. The common one is ventilation. Because as we're upgrading houses and making them more energy efficient, they're typically becoming more and more sealed. So it's like almost creating a balloon and keeping the air inside it. You know, that air needs to be let out so you can get fresh air back in. So it's ensuring that you're having that ventilation going on. A good way to do that is to have what's called a purge ventilation, where you open all the windows for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then close it all back up again. That's enough to refresh the air in the house without dropping the surface temperatures, which is the key thing. You want those surface temperatures to be warm.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Especially because the weather's changing and it's certainly getting colder. People will be popping their heatings on, possibly already having popped their heatings on. And then maybe you're less inclined to open a window because of the fact that, it's going to get cold.
This is the big thing. So a lot of people, this time of year especially, keep those windows closed, and that's when they start seeing condensation appear on their windows. That's an indication that there's a lot of moisture in the air. So it's a case of get that moisture into the air, so heat up the surfaces, and then open those windows, let that air out, refresh new air in, close it back up and heat it back up.
And having that consistent temperature was also something you mentioned a moment ago as well.
Exactly, yeah, having that consistent temperature. You don't want the peaks and troughs because that just creates cold surfaces. So you want to keep that consistent temperature throughout.
So is that about having a thermostat in your house consistently, I'm assuming, to make it easy for you, or a heating system? Yeah, because you can get heating systems that will just kick in automatically and things like that, can't you?
You can also get ventilation systems that kick in automatically. When a certain level of humidity kicks in, those ventilation systems work through. You've got some ventilation systems that work throughout the day regardless. But it's quite often the houses that haven't got those that need to pay attention to the ventilation.
Well, I'm just thinking about the cost of this, to be honest, listening to you, Mike. The cost of heating. You might think, I don't want to open the window if I've got the heating on. Or if you're trying to keep the house at a consistent temperature as we head into the colder months, that's going to cost money. Is there an optimum temperature? And have you got any advice in terms of the financial side of this?
So this is another thing that we do as green doctors. Because, like I said, when we go in, we can actually understand the individual situation. And the ideal situation most of the time is, yes, more heat. But the problem with that is the cost, as you mentioned. So it's looking at how to balance those other two factors, the amount of moisture being produced and the ventilation, to offset the deficit you've got on your heat. So it's understanding the whole principle. I mean, ideally, various places say that, 20 degrees is the optimum temperature to reduce your damp and mould.
Right.
The cost of getting to that and maintaining that all the time is quite a bit, especially if you've got an older property with less insulation. So it's looking at what you can do the best way for your situation. And this is why these one-to-one talks that we have with the individuals is so vitally important. And we can refer on if there's any other things that we notice in the household, i.e. Benefits advice or something else they could apply for to get assistance, whether it's grants or anything like that. We can highlight those and point them out to the individual.
What are the warning signs that you might have damp and mould in your house?
First one is condensation on your windows. Because the windows are your coldest surface typically, so you see it there first. The next place you see it is in your bathroom, because there's obviously a lot of moisture in your bathroom. The next thing is mould around those surfaces. So that they're sort of your key indications. You can, as the doctor that you had on earlier mentioned, is, you feel the repercussions of it yourself with your ventilation, with your own breathing and things like that. But the first thing is your condensation.
Brilliant, thank you. And how can you prevent it? You mentioned the temperature in your whole house, but are there other things that you can do other than ventilation? I don't know, maybe don't hang your clothes on the radiators. I was told to do that a few years ago.
So yeah, again, that comes with the moisture production. So the less moisture you're putting into the air, the less you've got to get rid of. So whenever you are doing anything that's creating moisture, whether it's cooking, showering, whatever, isolate that room. So close the door, open the window, get it out. You want to get it out as quick as possible. After you've showered, keep your door closed, keep your window open for a good 20 minutes, half hour, and then go back in and close it to heat the room back up.
If you have damp or mould in the house at the moment, one of the things that our doctor earlier on said, Ian, was about removing that. How can you remove that in a safe way? What would be your advice?
The safest way is to get the actual the mould removal stuff, not the ones that cover it up, but the ones that actually remove it. So this is the problem that you get. You need to your fungicidal mould wash and things like that. And they come with their own descriptions as to obviously how to do that healthily. But they're the better ones rather than just the sort of the quick sort of bleach-based ones, which can just sort of hide it rather than actually remove it. So you want to make sure that it's the correct stuff to get rid of it. A lot of the places sell it like, I'm trying to think hardware stores rather than actually using particular brand names there. Sorry. The hardware stores that have those. And it's the fungicidal wash stuff that you want to get to make sure that you're clearing and getting rid of it.
Really useful stuff, Mike. Right. Importantly, how can you sign up for one of these healthy homes analysis that you offer?
So it's the website, which is groundwork.org.uk/healthy-homes. And then we'll have a chat with you and see which sort of process is best for you and arrange to come out and help you out.
Brilliant. Mike, thank you so much for your time. Mike Blackham there from local charity Groundwork.